Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel for another exciting fun-filled episode on this Passagemaker dinghy build. We got lots to do, so let's get at it. Alright, so I've been out working on getting ready for gluing in these seats all morning here. I've been working all morning on this. I didn't record anything. I wanted to make sure I was prepped. More important for me to be prepped for tomorrow morning when the temperature's supposed to be down to 68. So I can get a chance to glue in these seats. So I wanted to make sure I got this done. So I didn't record any of it. But so a couple things I decided and got fit in here. So remember where I left off last episode, the take apart bulkhead here had to have doublers placed on it. And the manual says to go ahead and put them in and trim them to fit. Well, I think I'm going to take a different approach. I've got them in pretty close, but what I'm going to do is put them in as they are, glue them in, and then come back and sand them down later to fit. So I don't know if you can see, but this one here has the biggest overhang here. So that'll be I'll just take a little bit of sanding. Up here on this one, it's just up a little bit. Because of the angle of the bulkhead to the side of the boat, there's a pretty big gap on this one. I'll just fill it in with thickened epoxy after we get it all glued in. Got some, so the seat itself is sitting in pretty good. I'm going to be putting I'll put blocks on to weigh it down, especially underneath here, underneath the seat. I want to make sure. See if we can get a shot of that. I want to make sure I've got a good bond here on the seat to this interface here. I want to make sure we got a good bond there. Now the other thing, so they talk about in the manual about putting a bead around. All right, so that's all good. All right, sorry, I had an interruption there. So yeah, so I've got the blocks here to hold down, make sure we get a good interface on the seat to the bulkhead there, and hopefully I think that'll be good, and I think the rest of the fit is really good. One of the things that the manual says to do is put the bead around the bottom, right? So put a bead around there, we'll put the seat in, and then they say to come back and put a fillet in later, or put a fillet in then. I'm going to wait on that. I think I'm going to do it as 2 steps. I think I'm going to put the bead around, smush it in, I'll clean up any excess, and then once it's glued in and set, then I'll come back and put a fillet around there. I think that gives me a better chance of getting a good fillet. If I try to do it all at once, I'm afraid I'll run out of time. So I think that's what I'm going to do it. And also on the edges, so after the bulkhead there and then back, that part there, I'm not going to do anything to when I put the seat in. I won't put any epoxy in there or anything. I'll wait again until the seat's been glued in, and then I'll come back in and fill that in, probably from both underneath and a fillet on top. So yes, that's how I've got both sides. These they fit pretty good. It did take a little bit of work to get them to fit even this close, so let me show you here. I had to take this fillet out here, and I think I remember when I put these in where the manual, it didn't say anything about what to do up here, and I went ahead and put a fillet in, and I wish the manual said don't put a fillet in because you're going to be putting a doubler here. So it took me a little bit to get this cleaned out. I took the oscillating tool and went down and got the bulk of it, and then came back with a nice sharp chisel to clean that out. So this doubler here fits really pretty darn good in here now. Like I said, it's a little bit proud along one edge here, and I'll come back later and sand that up once it's glued in place. So I think that's pretty good. I got that for both sides. So pretty good on the front seat, and I think we're pretty much set on that. I want to make sure I got the lines right, and then I'll have to do a real good cleanup and wipe down of everything before tomorrow morning. Now in the back seat, this is a different story. So I've been messing around with this most of this morning. I went and did some more sanding along the edges, and I got it to fit pretty good in there, but I still wasn't happy about this back, and the back wasn't fitting in right. So let me see if I can get this out of here. So I went ahead and put in a cleat down here, and right now I've just got some actually you just got some 3/4 inch metal screws holding this in. I'm going to go ahead and today, even though it's hotter than heck, I'm going to try to go ahead and just mix up a small batch of thickened epoxy and glue this in, and then and screw it in. The screws are short enough where they didn't come out the back, so I think we're pretty good here. And then also, let me go ahead and sit you up here so that you can see, where am I going to put it? Hold on. See how that works. Yeah, so anyways, it's the fit in there pretty good now. Still takes quite a bit of persuasion here. I might still do a little bit more sanding on that edge right there, but we're sitting pretty good, and also this back is really well supported now with that cleat there. There's no movement at all. So yeah, so I think that's the way to go. Then the other thing, the book does tell you about this. It's actually a pretty good idea. Hopefully, let me see if you can even see it. Yeah, so one of the things that the book did mention when putting these in is to get the seat held down. One of the ways to do it here is to put a board or something down, have it pressed down, and then use a clamp to hold that board down. And that works pretty good. And that's the one of the other reasons I'm going to do the same thing here on the back is I'll do the I'll glue it in, but I won't do the top fillet. We'll wait to do the top fillet until after it's glued in and set. And then the same thing on these parts here that are overhanging. We'll come back later and fill those in and do a fillet on those too at the same time. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. I think I'm going to go ahead and just sand a little bit more on this, do the cleanup, and get the shop cleaned up a little bit, and get ready for tomorrow's gluing in on the seats. So we'll pause here and be back bright and early tomorrow morning. Well, good morning, YouTube. It is a little after 4:30 in the morning. Temperature is 67 out here. I've got the AC running, so there's probably some background noise to this video. Sorry about that. Anyways, I did get the good cleanup last night or yesterday afternoon. Everything's wiped down. I've got the new nice lines drawn. So my plan is to go ahead and mix up some clear epoxy, and we'll paint the inside here. And then I've got a few spots in the aft section. I'll go ahead and use the clear epoxy on that. Then we'll mix up some thickened epoxy, come back, do the front part, put that seat in, put the shark fin sides on, and then move to the aft. I'm hoping to get both front and back sections done this morning, but we'll have to see how the temperature does and how I do, and let's get going on this. I had thought about putting the epoxy, do the hole right up all the inside, but I decided against that, and I'm just going to go ahead and do right up to the line, and then we'll still have to come back later and and do the final seal on the inside. And I'll do that after I've put the fillets on, and that way we'll seal right over right top of everything. Alright, touch up the back. The back is sitting pretty good. There's only a few spots I need to hit, plus the oh yeah, this so we had the screws holding in the skeg in the back, and I decided the one under the aft seat there I'd go ahead and take out before, and then I'd be able to put some epoxy in there. And I went to take it out, and the head snapped off. So we got a snapped off screw there. I'm going to cover it over with epoxy and not worry about it. Alrighty, off to a good start. Mixed up almost the exact right amount of epoxy for that job, so that's a good start. Now it's time to do the thickened epoxy. And I just realized I might not have. Yeah, we're right. All right. So the book wants to do 12 ounces of epoxy thickened, but I'm going to go ahead and try to do around 6 ounces at a time and see how far that gets me. Alright, well, here goes nothing. I'm going to try to pipe this in so it's at or below the line. I'm going to start in the middle first with this center section. Also, I'm not going to put thickened epoxy on this bulkhead, only on the center take apart, and the cleats here is all I'm going to do. And this turned out to be only about 4 to 5 ounces of clear epoxy, so we'll see how this goes, how far this goes. Got just a little, that worked out pretty good. I'm not sure if that bead's big enough, but we'll go with it for now. Like I said, we're just trying to get this glued in, and then we'll come back at a later date and get the fillets and get it sealed up real nice. And the moment I've been dreading, it's better to be just like a scab. Just do it and get it over with. Oh, well, it's off quite a bit on my gluing up here in the front, but that's all right. The rest of it, we're not looking awful on. We're not looking the greatest, but I think we can fix most of this. Should have put it down lower. Let's see how we're sitting here. For all, it's not really too bad. I just want to fill in a few spots. I knew these front corner kind of places were going to be a problem, so that's not a big worry. Alright, let's get these shark fin doublers up here. I got to mix up some more epoxy. I'll probably do about half of what I did. Alright, I'm going to put the thickened epoxy right on the outside of these guys and then put the doublers on there. I think that's probably the easiest way for me to do it, instead of trying to handle the doublers while they've got epoxy all over them. And yeah, so let's, oops, you guys can't even probably see that. I'll do the one over on this side first and move you over a little. Hopefully you can see that a little better. We are covering up the hole. Remember, for the take apart, we've got 2 holes at the top here for the screws and the handle screw things. But once we cut the boat apart, we'll be able to re-drill those holes from the other side. So that's not too big of a worry. Alright. I do have a fancy new trowel spreader doohickey here. It's got the teeth on it and everything. Alright, get these guys in here. I do want to try, seems to be sliding back quite a bit. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. I say with some surprise in my voice. Yeah, still got some epoxy left over here in the pastry bag. So I'm just going to go ahead and touch up a few spots here just to use it up. And where I know I'm going to need it anyways. Alright. Got to quit messing with it and put the brakes pavers on here to weight it down a little bit and see what that does. Let's see what this does. The darn thing wants to keep sliding backwards. I don't think I've got a long enough clamp. Wonder if this is, let me show you what I'm doing here. So I've got the clamp that I can reverse here, and I'm just going to put it between the front seat and the middle seat here. Just to give me a little bit. That'll do it. And just a little bit of squeeze out here front to take care of. Alright, now I'm done. Alright, good, that went pretty good. Temperature's holding at 66 in here. It took me about hour and 15-20 minutes. So that wasn't too bad. So I think it's time to tackle the back. Let me go ahead and switch you around and we'll see if we can get that back done this morning. Alrighty then, let's get this back seat done. Can't remember if I told you or not, but I made this cleat out of cut-offs of the rub rail that I had left over. So that's what I used for that cleat. Real good, solid, whatever it was. Alright, let's give this a shot. This is going to be a messy one, I think. Getting this fitted in here, I think, is going to be messy. Well, heck, that's it. It's in. That's crazy. Good deal. Let me just start clean up. I thought that was going to go a lot harder. That cleat in the back made it real nice. Spot. Just a little nice ooze out underneath here. Just about perfect. So I don't even know if I need to put in those boards. It's sticking down really good. All right, let me get the. I do want to put some boards in here. All right. Got to clean up underneath here. All right, good enough for now. I'm going to go ahead and got some epoxy left over. I'm going to do the bottom of the dagger board chunk now that it's sitting right. See if I can get some fillets in on there. But we'll go ahead and pause, and we'll be back tomorrow to see how it looks. Alrighty then, it's next day, and the epoxy's cured. The seats are in. I'm real happy with the way they came out. I mean, yeah, I've got to do more work before I put the fillets in. I'll have to do some light sanding, but that's the way it goes. Everything looks pretty square. I don't see any real major gaps. The back one here looks pretty good. Again, when I do the fillets, I'll have to do some light sanding around the back, but I'm pretty happy with it. So anyways, it's another, not quite as early as yesterday, but still a little bit early. So we've got some good temperatures here. So what I'm going to do this morning is go ahead and flip the boat over and I'll probably go ahead and even just do a fillet along the undersides of both the front and the back seat, and that'll be that. And then also, I don't think it's going to be cold enough tomorrow to do some epoxy. But then while oh yeah, let me back up. So then yesterday I was going to put the fillet, the leftover epoxy I had mixed up for the fillet for the dagger board at the bottom, and I started that. And the epoxy was starting to kick, and that was probably about 5 minutes too late to use that epoxy. So I went ahead and I scraped most of it off, but one of the things I realized is I need to do a little bit better job of sanding along the bottom where that plug is. So while it's upside down, I'm going to go ahead and do some more sanding around the bottom of the dagger board trunk. So yeah, so this morning we'll do the epoxy on the undersides, try to get a nice fillet. Even though nobody will see it, we'll still just go ahead and count it towards practice. And then once that dries, then the next day I can do the sanding around the dagger board chunk, flip it over. And I think our next weather window is sometime next week to do the fillets around the seats here. So anyways, let me get the boat turned over, and we'll see what other kind of mess we can make underneath on these seats. All right, kind of cramped under here, but we'll show you a little bit of this. So I did do just another light sanding with some 80 grit sandpaper, wiped it down with the dewaxer. There's a pretty good gap over in this side here. And underneath I've got a piece of packing tape so that the epoxy doesn't fall through. First I'm going to go ahead and wet out everything. I want this seam here, so remember I didn't put any thickened epoxy on this board here when I put the seat on. A couple reasons: I didn't want any more of the mess getting on that cardboard, and eventually we've got to cut through that. And the other thing is that, so I'll be putting a nice fillet along this whole edge. Then when we cut the boat on the exposed side here, I plan on running a piece of fiberglass, at least a piece of fiberglass tape along that seam between the this seat and this bulkhead on the other side to strengthen it up that way. I don't think just gluing this with epoxy is strong enough, so I was always planning on doing a little bit of fiberglass work on the other side of this bulkhead anyway. So yep, so that's how we're going to do it, and we'll just get some just a real quick primer coat of epoxy here. Okay, now make this into some thickened epoxy and we'll get to filleting. Alright, here we go. Filling in a pretty big gap here on this side, so I'll give it 3 passes, I think, with the thickened epoxy. Had to forgot to clean off my little filleting tool yesterday, so I had to do a quick cleanup on it. Just take some sandpaper and go over it, and it comes out okay. I'm gonna start back here and go this way, I think. This corner with the this plank here, and it's not quite enough room to get the filleting tool in. It's all backwards. There. All right, good. I just need to do a couple. Need to do the other side over here and do a little bit of cleanup on it, and then I can go ahead and do the back one here. I'm going to go ahead and we'll pause the recording here shortly, and I'll do the back one off camera, and then we'll come back out tomorrow morning, depending on the temperature on what we're going to do. Alrighty, it's next day, and looks like we're looking pretty good. This front seat came out pretty good. Oops, the light. Anyways, yeah, so looks real good. This will just take a light sand, and I'm not sure yet if this is painted or what we're doing here. But anyway, so the seat's nice and solid. It's not moving anywhere. Didn't get hardly. I got a little bit of bleed through that I'll have to sand when I do the fillets on the other side here. But overall, I think we're looking real good. I did get a chance to, or I had some epoxy left over, so I went ahead and did a fillet. Oh, oops, what the heck? Oh, hold on. Yeah, so I did get a chance to do a fillet on this dagger board chunk, the first one. That side looks real good. This side needs a little work, and the back side needs a little work. But again, nobody's going to see it. I'm not sure yet if it's getting painted, or pretty sure it's going to get painted. So we'll have a chance to primer it and smooth it out and paint it. But overall, I'm pretty happy with that. Now the temperature has gone back up. So all right. So as I was talking about, the temperature is going to be in the mid 70s for the next 3 or 4 days. So I think it's time to go ahead and do some finishing work. And the piece I'm going to start with here is this rudder cheek assembly. And what I've decided to use is the Total Boat Marine wood finish. So when I started looking at this project and got the kit, one of the things I started looking at was paint and varnish, and what I was going to do. And I actually sent an email to Jamestown distributors, and I says, okay, I'm living in Florida. What do you recommend to use for both paint and varnish? And they pointed me to Interlux stuff, and I was like, yeah, this stuff looks really good. And looking at what I've got to do and all the different things that I would need, it came out, if I used Interlux products that they recommended, the paint and varnish for the boat was close to $3,000. So I was like, oh yeah, that'd be pretty nice, but I'm not sure I want to spend that much money on this finish of this. So anyways, I started looking, and I finally decided on some Total Boat products, and the first one is this marine wood finish. Now this isn't a traditional type of varnish. This is more like a polyurethane. But some of the the reasons that I did pick it is it does have UV protection, flexible, glossy finish, and easy to apply varnish alternative. So, and that along with the fact that it's a lot less expensive gave me the impetus to go ahead and give this a try. And now it's raining out, so we're gonna pause here for a little bit. All right, so hopefully this isn't one of the mornings where everything is conspiring against me doing some videoing, but anyways, yeah, so using the marine wood finish, it's not inexpensive, but it's a lot less pricier than some of the other options I looked at. So anyways, the Total Boat has a good website with the instructions and what to do. So during that little break, I went ahead and did a wipe down with the degreaser on the whole rudder cheek assembly, so it's all nice and clean now. And one of the other things I like about this is the recoat, right? So you've got up to 72 hours between coats, and it gives you kind of the minimum recoat time, and so we're probably looking right around 24, between 16 and 24 hours for minimum recoat to put more coats on. So like I said, it gives you some good information on how to do this. And yeah, so the other thing, so they talk about what to use. I'm going to do this first, the first one with just a foam brush, and in fact I think this was part of the kit, part of the stuff that Total Boat sent when they did it. So I'm going to try the foam brush. One of the reasons that I've chosen to just do this rudder cheek assembly is more of an experiment. So if I have to, I can sand this down relatively quick and start over again if I have to. And so that's the reason I started. One of the other things is I'm not sure. I had thought about hanging this up. I've got a hole here. I could hang this up, or I've got these triangle pieces here to try to do it that way. So I think I'm going to try those first and try flipping it over so I get both sides. I'm not sure how well that's going to work, but anyways, yeah. So I'm going to just be using a little bit of the marine wood finish. It said the first coat should be thinned 10% with their special brushing thinner, so that's what we're going to do. I'll probably just estimate that with a splash. Like I said, this is really more to see how this works and see what kind of results I can get from it, or if I'd be better off just painting everything. So let me get you set up and we'll get started on this. All right, I gave this about shaking it for about 2 minutes, so let's go ahead and get her opened up and see what it's like. One of the things I'm interested in is what kind of odor this has got, and if I think I need to wear a mask. Oops, if I need to wear a mask while putting this stuff on. I hope not, but if we have to, we have to. So let's see what we got here. It's kind of fun getting these little clips off. Going all over the place. All right. It's got a little bit of an odor to it, but it's not too bad. I don't think I'm gonna, especially for this small of a thing, and hopefully as little time as it takes. I don't think I need to wear a mask. I probably do, but I'm not going to. And the shaking seems to have stirred it up pretty good. I don't see any anything that would make me believe that it needs to be stirred more. It does. It is really kind of thick here. So it says 10% thinning is for the first coat. So we'll give that an eyeball here and see how thick that really needs to be. Now I don't need much to do this. Hopefully I don't waste too much here. That looks about to be enough. Can't remember where I saw it, but one of the things they said they recommended was to put this through one of their filters, the little paper cone coffee filter looking things. And I do have some of those, and if I think that's needed, we'll do that, especially when we get to the bigger projects. But I'd rather skip that step if at all possible. All right, now 10%. Oh, I didn't open this thing. 10% of this. If Total Boat's listening, one of the things you could do is redo these child-proof caps or something, because with the metal on metal, it makes it pretty difficult to get these on and off, especially that de-waxer is a bear. Anyways, all right, so 10% is what we're looking for. That looks about 10% and 20% on the, on the bench here. Yeah, I don't remember if I said it or not, but one of the things they talk about too is using a natural bristle brush to get a really good finish. Those are again more expensive, so I'm hoping I don't have to resort to using one of those more expensive brushes. Now, if we get to the end and I'm liking what I'm seeing, maybe I'll for the last coat I'll splurge. But for now, we're going to keep to the cheap stuff here. Another thing that I like about this is you don't have to sand between finishes. So right now my plan is to put on at least 2 coats, and if I think we need to sand before the final coats, then we can, but I'm hoping to get at least 2 coats on and then decide from there. And they talk about doing this at this first coat especially is real thin. So that's what we'll do, and it looks like I got way too much varnish here. Seeing quite a few bubbles on top here. Hopefully those go away. Wondering if I got enough thinner or if it's because I got too much thinner. Yep, way too much varnish here for this little bitty thing, which makes me happy though, because I know I think this will go quite a ways and we shouldn't run out. All right, well that was kind of too easy. I think I've got all the drips. Well, I'm going to go ahead and we'll pause here. I might go ahead and clean up, do some more, maybe on the dagger board or the rudder. I don't think I had decided what I was going to do, so I think I'm going to paint most of the rudder and the dagger board, but maybe leave the handles clear. let me see what I got. Anyways, we'll pause here and be back to finish up this episode in a little bit. Well, I should have probably planned a little bit better on that one. I don't have anything ready sanded to 180 to 220 grit level to varnish, and I certainly don't want to be sanding while this, or actually stirring up any dust while this is sitting here. So we're going to go ahead and we'll keep treating this like an experiment and see what works and what doesn't, kind of trial. So should be right around mid 70s, maybe the lower 80s today. So 24 hours should give us a good cure time to come back out and put another coat on, and then we'll see how that looks and decide if I need to do some sanding in between the final coats, or how it looks and how it behaves before we do anything real big. But for now, if you want to see that, you'll need to come back and watch next episode. We'll go ahead and finish this one up by saying thanks for watching, thanks for your support. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Please leave me any comments, questions, suggestions down below. Please tell your friends about me, and please subscribe. Everyone, take care and be good.